Now that we have our model set up, the next thing what we need is the form inside that where we can add the details. Let's get back to our code, and that form we're going to create inside the model body. So for this, we'll create a form tag, and we don't need this action here. And inside the form, we'll say div.container, then say div.row. Then inside that, we're going to add in all the form fields. So here we'll say div.callMD12, and inside that, and say input type is date, because first we want the date of joining for that employee, or the added employee date. So here we'll give a class, we'll call this as form control. Then we'll say form control SM, and we will set that to required. Let's save that. Let's see how that looks. If I click on an employee, and you can see here we have this date, time, and those stuff. So I can choose like what date. Okay, so the next thing what I need is the name and other details. And for that to work, what we'll do is we'll just take this entire thing, we'll add it in div.mb3, and we'll paste it inside that. Okay, so now we'll just copy this and paste it over here, and we want this to be called md6. There's going to be a text, and here we want a placeholder. We'll call this as first name. Okay, and we want that to be required. Save that. Let's just copy this thing and paste it over here, and this will become the last name. And then we'll just copy this thing and paste it over here. So this will now become the email field, and this will be email ID. And next what we need is a phone number. So I'm just going to copy this, paste it over here, and this will become the tel. And here we'll call this as phone. Save that. Let's see how that looks. If I get to the browser, let's click on add employee. You can see we have this date, first name, last name, email ID, phone number. Next, we want a job selection, like which job they should be assigned to. For that, what we'll do is we'll just copy this, we'll paste it over here, and I'm gonna call this to callMD12. And we don't want this input field. Instead, what we want is a select field. So I'm gonna say select. We don't need a name. We don't need an ID for now. For this, we need a class called form select. We want it to be smaller, so form select SM, and we'll set the ARIA label to job assigned. And inside this, we'll say option, and we're gonna get rid of this value here. And here I'm gonna add an attribute called selected, and here I'm gonna set this to select job for employee. Okay, and now we can add in all the other jobs. I'm gonna call this as option. The first one is gonna be like graphic designer, so call this as graphic designer. Let's duplicate that. Next one is web designer. Okay, the same way we have next is web developer. Then we have digital marketer. Let's save that. Let's see how that looks. Let's get to the browser. Let's click on add employee. Okay, so we have select job for employee, and if I click here, you can see the list of jobs. The next thing I need is a submit button or a close button. Let's get back to our code, and here what we're going to do is we're going to create another div.callMD10, and inside that we'll say div.degrid, because we want a full width button, and we'll say button. Here the type is submit, the class is btn, btn sm, btn success, and here we'll call this as add employee. Let's save that. The next thing what we need is a close button. So I'm just going to copy this, paste it over here, and here we want this as column 2, and this is going to be just a button, and this is going to be btn warning, and this is going to be like close. But we're going to add some more attributes here. That is data dismiss is modal, and then we'll say aria label is close. Save that. Let's see how that looks. If I get to the browser, let's click on add employee, and you can see we have a lot of details. Okay, so something's wrong here. So that is warning. Let's save that. Okay, that's fixed. So you can see that we have date, first name, last name, email ID, phone number. Then we have the employee details, like which job he will be assigned to. Then we have add employee and close. But there's a problem here. The problem is that we have good spacing over here, but too much spacing in center. So this is where we can use the GX class. Let's get back over here. And this is the row which we created. All we have to do is call this as GX3. Save that. So on the x-axis, we're going to add that spacing. So now you can see that we have similar spacing on the top, bottom, and also between those different gutter size. So we have the same gutter size on all the form fields now.